What characterizes Aristotle more than anything else is that he thinks virtue, or a good character made up of many virtues opposed to vices, is what ethics is primarily about. Now, a person of virtue will also follow certain rules, right? And Aristotle thinks that there are principles that good people follow. But Aristotle, it's very important for Aristotle that we understand that the principles aren't airtight. They're not like, Aristotle keeps saying, look, ethics is not like geometry. Geometry is exact, ethics is not. Principles in ethics are sort of like the rules for, one example he gives is comedy. So imagine somebody deciding, I'm going to become a stand-up comic. So he gets a book about what to do to make people laugh. So he reads this book very carefully and underlines all the important passages and then walks out on stage and follows the rules in the book. What do you think is going to happen? And that's a little bit the way principles are in ethics. Now, it's, I think, especially important when we're dealing with students to see that they understand that principles, sometimes it's very hard to apply principles to a particular issue. We give them case studies in which they discover that maybe a pure utilitarian would do action A, a person most concerned with justice would do action B, somebody concerned with rights would do action C. Well, excuse me, but you get to make only one decision, and you've got to take all these considerations into account. And they don't always tell you exactly what to do. Now, if you take principles really seriously, then you might become pretty skeptical about ethics in general. You might begin to think, well, these principles don't work. I'll just do whatever I want to do. If, however, you think about being a person of good character, think about doing things right, think about being honest, think about being trustworthy, think about, going the extra mile if needed, and so on, then I think you're a lot better equipped to handle the ethical problems as they come along with this. And not only ethical problems. Ethics isn't just about dealing with dilemmas. What happens if there are two of you in a lifeboat and there's only enough cheese for one, or something like. Ethics is about orienting your life in a certain direction. And I think that it's easier for students to identify with that than it is for them to identify with John Stuart Mill. Aristotle believes that an ethical person, on the whole, is going to be a happy person. You want to become, over time, the kind of person who enjoys being a professional, the kind of person who enjoys being countable on. If students who tend to be kind of self-interested and even sometimes self-absorbed, if you know anything about business students, if they understand that, then again, they're likely to find the notion palatable that you can be a good person, a successful business person, and a satisfied person, a person who flourishes. And aim at that, and following the principles will take care of itself.